No matter what the situation was, he had that 1,000-watt smile on his face.
Tonight on NewsCenter, hear how one smile is traveling on, even after the originator is no longer here. Health officials continue to monitor the growing number of hepatitis A cases.
Thank y'all. Come again.
And how America's longest-running animation, The Simpsons, could be making changes to one of their original characters. All this and more tonight on NewsCenter.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Nate Brown.
And I'm Drew Spangler. Here's what's making the headlines for April 26, 2018.
Now to a story we've been covering for weeks. The hepatitis A outbreak across the state of Kentucky has been in full effect. There has been cases reported in neighboring counties with over 300 people affected, including 3 deaths. This week, NewsCenter looked into how those cases are continuing to affect the Bluegrass State and how to stop the spread from right here on campus.
As you probably know, a small number of counties in our state are dealing with a hepatitis A outbreak.
With the hepatitis A outbreak affecting 21 counties across the Commonwealth, state health leaders are giving warning and setting the record straight about the disease.
The risk of contracting hepatitis A is greatest in those with risk factors for the disease, which in this outbreak include homelessness and drug abuse. While there are no travel restrictions, the CDC does recommend vaccination for children, folks with risk factors, and those living in an outbreak area who wish to be protected.
Health officials say the best way to stop the spread of hepatitis A is to simply wash your hands. There have been 370 cases of hepatitis A in Kentucky since November. Of that affected, 256 have been hospitalized and 3 have died. There has also been misleading information saying that it's unsafe to travel to and from Kentucky, including attending one of Kentucky's biggest events.
They're all in line. They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Let me say that it is safe to travel to Kentucky, and it is safe to attend the Kentucky Derby.
For NewsCenter, Drew Spangler.
For more information on hepatitis A, you can contact the Student Health Services in Allie Young or visit chfs.ky.gov.
Round County is mourning the loss of one of their own. Justin Graham died last week after a long battle with leukemia. NewsCenter's Nick Oliver shows how one smile can change a whole lot.
No matter what the situation was, he had that 1,000-watt smile on his face.
A smile goes a long way. From kindergarten to her senior year of high school, Devaney Redwine has seen a
It almost felt like a truck ran over me.
But on Wednesday, the 21-year-old passed away after a year-long battle with leukemia. A tough pill to swallow for one of the community's favorite people.
All along, there was still this hope that everything was going to turn around and that there was going to be a miracle and something was going to happen and it would be great. And then it just made it very real that that wasn't the case.
Before battling leukemia, Graham could be found on the baseball field playing for Rowan County and later landing a spot at West Virginia State and starting nearly every game as a freshman before coming home to take on his biggest challenge yet. Justin was not just on the baseball field. He was a 5-star athlete. He played baseball, soccer, football, basketball, and even track. But friends say it was much more than that made him who he was.
You could be in the most high-pressure situation, whether it be right before a huge test in a class or in the state championship game. He was always just kind of like, we got this. We're fine, we got this, and had a huge smile on his face.
Smiles that seem to be the theme of his life, and others are now adopting as their own.
It makes you want to live your life like that because you see now the outpouring of love in this community for Justin because of that 1,000-watt smile that everybody loved.
Smiles that can now impact even more people, all from one original smile. For NewsCenter, I'm Nick Oliver.
Thanks, Nick. You can help cover funeral expenses for Graham by visiting any Kentucky traditional bank in Moorhead.
Following a decision to freeze tuition last week, Moorhead State President Jay Morgan announced on Tuesday a plan to now freeze housing rates for students during the next fall and spring courses. The freeze would ultimately mean housing costs will not see a rise. Although the housing freeze goes towards all campus housing, officials say the newest dorm, Andrews Halls, will not be included in the freeze. Officials do not say why Andrews Hall was exempt from the freeze. President Morgan says this is another action to show the university's commitment to making college affordable for prospective students.
warmer weather finally making its way to the hills. Officials say the city of Morehead say they are waiting on approval to install a brand new playground. The $110,000 playground would replace the existing equipment in Morehead City Park. City Council approved the upgrade and are now waiting grant upholds to begin ordering the equipment. In the meantime, officials say the old equipment is being dismantled. The new playground would feature a handicap-accessible playland, along with interactive devices for kids of all ages. This comes months after the city said they were also adding a multi-million-dollar splash pad to the existing property.
Morehead State's University Police are trying to put an end to opioid addiction one pill at a time. On Saturday, the department says they are holding their annual Take Back Day. Officers say during the event, students and community members can bring unwanted prescription drugs to a drop box in the Laughlin Health Building. Officers say removing old prescription drugs from the home can prevent break-ins and continued addiction the state of Kentucky continues to face every year. While you can bring pills, needles will not be accepted. More than 4,000 departments nationwide participated in the event last year, where they say almost 1 million pounds of pills were properly disposed of. The event will be Saturday morning and end at 2 p.m.
The Morehead Post with the Kentucky State Police had a busy March. The Post say they issued 1,312 citations in the month. Officials with the Kentucky State Police announced the report on Friday. They said the citations consisted of 15 DUIs, 92 for speeding, 67 for no seatbelt, 539 vehicles inspections, 130 warnings, 40 traffic citations, 825 complaints, and 67 criminal cases. In addition, the Post said they made over 200 criminal arrests. Officials say they won't be letting up anytime soon. They have also released a number of checkpoints they will be holding during the month of April and into May. You can also read the full list of locations on the checkpoints at www.moreheadnews.com.
Former Morehead basketball coach Sean Woods is making his coaching return to college basketball. The former University of Kentucky player was introduced at Southern University as their next head men's basketball coach last week. He spent last season as an assistant coach at Sexton. Woods is making his return following allegations of abuse towards former Morehead State basketball players in the 2017 season. Woods was fired as head coach following the allegations. He now returns to the SWAC conference where he first began coaching. Now for a quick look at weather. What can you tell us about the weather outside, Kyle?
Well, right now it's pretty cloudy with a little bit of sun peeking through around 66 degrees, and there's a little chance of rain tonight. Over the weekend, it's going to be pretty cool, low 60s and more chances of rain. However, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's going to get up into the mid to high 70s, 77 to 78. So hopefully we'll see a bit more of sun next week.
Sounds good to me. Thanks, Kyle. Stay tuned. News Center has more news after the break.
Want to lose weight but don't know where to start? The first step is simple. Get active. Take a stroll from your dorm down to the Fuzzy Duck for about a 1 mile round trip. You can take it a step further and start cooking some healthy food, but walk to IGA instead of driving to Kroger. That's about 1.5 miles. And when you want to reward yourself for making progress, a trip to the movies is a 3-mile round trip. Once walking gets too easy, you can always start jogging. Happy exercising!
Morehead State's government department has officially changed its name to Political Science, and officials tell NewsCenter's Olivia Leith the decision has been a long time coming.
Government is out and political science is in. Morehead State is one of the only universities that still has a government major rather than a political science. Professor Jonathan Palonzi says the issue to change the major from government to political science has always been a topic of interest.
So we've talked about it, and there's never really been a lot of resistance to it, but it's also the case that to make a change like this, there are probably hundreds of forms that have to be signed and hundreds of documents that have to be created, and several levels of curricular review for every course that you change from from government to political science. So I think it was really that barrier that kept us from doing it sooner.
Palonzi says exactly how he feels about the name switchover.
Well, I think I'm excited about it because I think it'll help us to sort of reach more students.
How do students feel, as well as something Palonzi brings up?
I know that our students are really excited about the change. I mean, I think they think that political science does a better job as a sort of name for capturing the experience that they've had. So, you know, as a professor, you always want the best for your students, and if the students want the change, you know, I'm all for it.
The political science major is a strong program, says Palonzi, and knows many students who have graduated and achieved so much already.
We have students who go off to law school every year. One student who finished last year is at University of Cincinnati Law.
The new name is already in use. For NewsCenter, I'm Olivia Leet.
Thanks, Olivia. Officials say the switch over to political science has made it much easier for students to find a major that they're wanting to pursue.
Some student athletes celebrated Earth Day a little early. Students with the football team and soccer team came together to clean up one of Morehead's oldest parks last week. Rawbone Hollow Park is commonly the dumping ground for trash and other debris. During the cleanup, the students painted picnic tables, cleared trails, moved fallen debris, and picked up trash in the area. The park is also one of the 2 ways to access trails in Morehead. Daniel Boone National Forest adopted the trail as their own in 1996.
The sounds of the Kentucky Center for Traditional Music will soon be heard in downtown Morehead during their music finale. The spring semester finale, called the Sounds of Our Heritage, will feature bluegrass, western swing, and old-time blues. All the songs will be performed by the traditional music ensembles on May 1st at 7 p.m. at the Morehead Conference Center. The concert is free and open to the public.
Morehead State University's annual publication of the Literacy and Art Journal, Escape, is getting set for their end-of-the-year celebration. Since 1957, the journal showcases students' work in art, poetry, media, writing, and printmaking. The procession will be held on Thursday, May 3rd at 6:30 in the Claypool Young Art Gallery.
New beds are about to be heading out to Kentucky kids following the need of the 8th annual Build-A-Bed Day. The event, held by MSU Corp on Saturday at the Peddlers Mall, is in place to build and deliver beds to kids across the counties across the state whose parents cannot financially afford a new bed. During the event, loose wood was wheeled in and 256 new beds were rolled out. The event has built over 1,000 beds since its existence since 2010. Kids who receive a bed also get a brand new comforter, stuffed animal, book, alarm clock, nightstand, and hygiene kit. Organizers say they are already planning the next year's event.
A Mount Sterling gas station offered for a very limited amount of time 99-cent gas in order to celebrate its grand opening. Key Oil offered unleaded gas for just 99 cents a gallon from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. yesterday as a promotion. There were reports of very long lines as people came to the gas station specifically to take advantage of the promotion while it lasted. This promotion appealed to a lot of people as the average price of gas in Mount Sterling is $2.72 a gallon. Stay with us. When we get back, Callie joins us for our weather update.
Dang it. Got it. I know what to do. Yes.
Want to lose weight but don't know where to start? The first step is simple. Get active. Take a stroll from your dorm down to the Fuzzy Duck for about a 1-mile round trip. You can take it a step further and start cooking some healthy food, but walk to IGA instead of driving to Kroger. That's about 1.5 miles. And when you want to reward yourself for making progress, a trip to the movies is a 3-mile round trip. Once walking gets too easy, you can always start jogging. Happy exercising!
Are you interested in becoming a service dog sitter or handler? 4 Paws for Ability at MSU allows members to get involved with the Service Dog Association. During your membership, you could help future service dogs get used to a public setting and get accustomed to staying on the clock in a home environment. For more information, follow MSU 4 Paws or email msusda@outlook.com.
I'm Kyle Blankenbuehler with your weather update. Right now in Moorhead, it's around 64 degrees and mostly overcast with a bit of sun peeking through. Humidity around 49% and winds at 5 miles per hour. Record temperatures in 1935, there was a high of 90 degrees, and in 1934, there was a record low of 27. The normal high for this time of year is 67 degrees, and the normal low is around 40. The temperature map, as you can see in Moorhead, it's 64 degrees, slightly warmer in Lexington and in Ashland at around 66 degrees. However, down in London, it's considerably cooler at 60, in Louisville and Frankfurt also 66 and 65 degrees respectively. The live radar courtesy of WKYT. As you can see, it's mostly clear up in northern Kentucky. However, down south near London, Hazard, and Pikeville, there's plenty of rain coming through in this area. Down over near Bowling Green, you can see there's a slight bit more serious rain coming through. But aside from that, up in northern Kentucky near Lexington and Moorhead, there's not much rain coming through. For tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy with lows around 48 degrees and a 20% chance of precipitation when sunset around 8:20. Tomorrow's forecast, mostly sunny with highs around 69 degrees and sunrise at 6:43. Now taking a look at the 7-day forecast, we might see some rain later tonight. There's a 20 to 40% chance, lows around 48 degrees. On Friday, a bit warmer at 68, possible chance of storms and rain and a possible cold front coming through. On Saturday, slightly cooler and mostly dry, a fair bit of sun and a few bit of clouds. On Sunday, also slightly cooler at 60 degrees and a frost threat at 30 degrees later in the night. On Monday, however, it's going to leap right back up into the 70s at 72 degrees with milder temperatures throughout the day. And as you can see on Tuesday and Wednesday, in the higher 70s at 77 and 78. However, there's a slight chance of rain on Wednesday. Coming up next is Olivia with sports.
The Eagles softball had a doubleheader of OVC play on Sunday where they split the series with the UT Martin Skyhawks. The Lady Eagles celebrated the seniors as they wrapped up their final home series of the 2018 season, honoring Ellen Barrett, Kylie Holton, Robin Layton, Chelsea McManaway, Hannah Murphy, Abigail Rhodes, Lindsay Ward, and Taylor Wheeler. Those 8 Lady Eagles have made major impacts as they consecutively got 97 wins over the past 4 seasons. A 3-game series of OVC play this past weekend at Allen Field against the Austin Peay Governors, where they fell short 2 of the 3 games. Winning only Game 3 of the series, the Eagles struggled at bat and could not put a stop to the Governors. During this week, the Eagles played the number 13-seeded University of Kentucky, where they fell short 7-1. Your Eagle basketball has already been recruiting for the 2018-2019 upcoming season. They plan to add some height and weight to the roster by bringing in a Russian native. Head coach Preston Spradlin signed the Russian native Sasha Sukhanov, who played high school basketball in West Virginia and has officially signed a letter of intent to Moorhead. Sukhanov is a 6'11", 235-pound forward from Tomsk, Russia. Brad Martin, a former Moorhead State men's golfer, is rising up in his professional career. Martin is joining Golf House Kentucky, where he will be the new director for the family and the organization. Prior to this accomplishment, he was a tournament director for the Southeastern Junior Golf Tour in Auburn, Alabama for 2 years. The Lexington native is glad to be back, let alone work in the Bluegrass State, where he'll be managing player development initiatives while assisting tournament programs and marketing for Golf House Kentucky. After junior Justin Mokler broke the 1,500-meter record at the Brian Clay Invite this past Saturday, he sat down with sports reporter Miranda Crockett and shared a little bit on how he's been able to reach so much success here at Morehead State University.
My name is Justin Mokler. I'm from Brampton, Ontario, Canada. I am a junior here at Morehead State University, and I compete on men's track and field and men's cross country. What made me decide to come to Morehead State was that I fell in love with the location of Morehead. It was in the Daniel Boone National Forest, and there was many places to run, trails. When I came down on my recruitment visit, I really fell in love with the team. I talked to the coach. He understood me as a runner, so I thought it was a really good fit for myself. I started running about my freshman year of high school. I came to practice and I did pretty well, and the coach, he saw my potential and he sat me down and he gave me a serious talk, and at first I wasn't really into it, and then I just kept doing it. I stayed true to myself. That's when I decided I want to do running over other sports. You gotta trust the process. You gotta trust your coach, because that's one of the reasons why you came to Morehead State. I trust Coach Bakucci and what he tells me to do, even though I won't be feeling good at the beginning of the season. It always comes through at the end. So these guys stay true to the program itself. The training, I would say, I definitely up my mileage a lot. That's what me and Coach agreed on when I came here, that I needed to work on my aerobic training, endurance. The days when no one's watching, you gotta be putting in the work yourself. It's the little things that really matter.
We'll be right back after the break.
Hey, what's wrong? I'm bored out of my mind. There's nothing to do here. It's not raining. Let's go to Eagle Lake and take a hike. Anything to get me out of this room.
That was so much fun. We should do this more often.
I totally agree. Now let's go get some food. I'm famished.
Turned green this past weekend for Earth Day festivities on the Alley Young lawn. NewsCenter Jacob Butler was in attendance.
Morehead's Earthwise Eagles hosted an Earth Day celebration last week featuring music, games, and a sustainable living fair for students and community members alike. Sophomore Dakota Vance assisted in the event.
There was a big tent set up, and under the tent we had a raffle for some t-shirts, gift cards, bags, refillable sport bottle cups, and we had residential advisors running all the stations.
The music helped attract even more visitors to the tent throughout the day.
And we had a couple different bands play. One was the Wood Sheep. They had another band there. They were more like rock band. They're really good though.
Under the tent, there was also a Recyclemania poster contest, Bee and Tree Campus USA presentations, plants for sale from MSU's horticulture program, and free tree seedlings for all.
We were celebrating Earth Day because the Earth provides for us, and we just tear it down. We throw trash on it. Deforestation is a huge thing. We were talking about recycling and ways to recycle, how to reuse things instead of just creating more waste. And we want to bring awareness to how much waste we create.
For NewsCenter, this is Jacob Butler.
Get headlines happening across the country. A gunman opened fire on a Waffle House near Nashville, Tennessee Sunday morning, killing 4 people. The gunman was identified as 29-year-old Travis Ranking. He was arrested Monday, less than a mile from the restaurant, following an almost 35-hour manhunt. Ranking was armed with an AR-15 and was wearing nothing but a jacket. Ranking was also charged with 4 counts of criminal homicide and is facing 4 counts of attempted murder as well as one count of unlawful gun possession.
A 72-year-old former cop has been arrested in relation to an over 40-year-old cold case referred to as the Golden State Killer case. The Golden State Killer of California is believed to have killed at least 12 people, raped over at least 45 people, and committed several home burglaries throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Joseph James D'Angelo was arrested at his home in Sacramento County and taken into custody without incident. D'Angelo's name was not even involved in the investigation until last week when discharged DNA confirmed a match to D'Angelo.
Meek Mill was released from prison Tuesday after being allowed out on unsecured bail. The 30-year-old rapper, whose real name is Robert Williams, was sentenced to 2 to 4 years in prison for violating probation on a gun and drug case back in 2009. Mill has stated that he looks forward to returning to his music career. Michael Rubin, co-owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, has supported Mill and got Mill to ring the ceremonial bell before a ball game. Mill has also brought up the issue of unwanted conviction and wishes he uses his resources to shed more light on the issue.
Former President George H.W. Bush was admitted to a hospital in Houston Sunday after contracting a blood infection. Bush's health has been declining rapidly for several months now. This hospitalization comes right after his wife, Barbara Bush, was buried Saturday following her passing on Tuesday at the age of 92. Bush has needed hospital treatment several times in recent years due to respiratory problems, pneumonia, and chronic bronchitis, as well as falling and breaking a bone in his neck. Bush is the 41st President of the United States. He is 93 years old, and he was married to Barbara Bush for 73 years.
One of America's leading fast food chains is closing a quarter of their stores in order to revamp their current brand. Subway restaurant officials say many store owners are not putting enough effort into the daily operations of the store. They say they are closing the stores to upgrade and add quality to the food processing. They have not released how many stores remain closed. The amount of Subways in Kentucky to close have not been announced.
The longest-running animated television show, The Simpsons, has run into a bit of controversy in regards to one of its most recognized characters, Apu, voiced by Hank Azaria. Many feel that the character is overly offensive due to the voice and characterization of Apu being stereotypical of South Asian and Indian people. A documentary named The Problem with Apu was created to help raise the discussion about the subject, leading to The Simpsons to make a nod to this in one of their episodes with no clear indication what exactly the stance is on discussion. Despite this, Azaria is open to the idea of changing the character for the better. Let's take a quick listen to what Azaria had to say while he was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
You know, the idea that anybody was young or old, past or present, was bullied or teased based on the character of Apu, it just really makes me sad. It was certainly not my intention. I wanted to spread laughter and joy with this character, and the idea that it's, brought pain and suffering in any way, that it was used to marginalize people, it's upsetting, genuinely.
The box office might have to be avenged after potentially being destroyed this weekend. The latest Marvel movie, Avengers: Infinity War, is expected to make box office history with an opening weekend that is expected to potentially top $200 million in the box office. The movie is expected to break records after building up a storyline over the past 10 years of Marvel movies that have led up to this latest film. Many film analysts are predicting the movie could surpass Star Wars: A Force Awakens in the box office records, which broke many records of its own. The film has already had over $50 million in pre-sales and premieres in theaters tonight.
That's all the news we have for this week. Make sure to tune in next week to keep updated on the latest stories.
We appreciate you watching. See you next week. Good night.
I can't keep talking when it's